Hi, everybody. Bryant Greening from LegalRideshare. Thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Dr. Eugene Zhao from La Clinica. Doctor, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's a little cold in Chicago, but I guess we'll have to make do.
Yes.
So it's good to be back with you. We've done a couple of these before, but I wanted to bring you back on, talk a little bit about La Clinica, LegalRideshare, accidents, injuries, all the good stuff that you and I both do. For those of you who are watching who don't know, LegalRideshare is a personal injury law firm. We help gig workers who have been involved in accidents recover for their medical treatment, help them pay their medical bills, recover lost wages, recover money for pain and suffering, things of that nature. We help with the insurance claim, and then if the case were to need to be litigated, we would go through that process in the courtroom as well. Dr. Zhao is with La Clinica. Doctor, can you tell us a little bit about what La Clinica does?
Sure, I'd love to. La Clinica is in neighborhoods throughout Chicago, and we treat people who are injured. So we treat a lot of clients similar to what Brian is describing, people who have been involved in accidents, particularly car accidents, where they possibly have lost function, have a lot of pain, need to return to work. We've been doing this for quite a few years, and we are in many different blue-collar communities throughout Chicago. And what we like to do is like to be compassionate with people, empathetic, trying to understand what's going on, what's really not working for them, and try to help them with that.
You and I connected because so many gig workers, Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, delivery workers end up at your clinics. It's really amazing, that you're able to serve this community who often feels underserved. They a lot of times don't have health insurance. Sometimes they're not really sure where to go after an accident or injury. So La Clinica does a great job of being available for workers who need help and sometimes the lowest times of their lives. Speaking of gig work, the nature of the work tends to lend itself, sadly, to accidents and injuries. The more time you're on the road, the more likely you are to be involved in an accident. At least that's the experience that we've seen over at LegalRideshare. We see accidents on all ends of the spectrum, whether it's a fender bender or a catastrophic loss. Regardless of the nature of the impact, we're seeing that drivers oftentimes need medical care. Is that what you're seeing on your end, doctor?
Yes, I definitely I agree with you. The more you're on the road, the more likely you're going to be involved in an accident. Many times of not of your doing, and people develop pain right away. Most of the time, sometimes it takes them a day or so, and they start experiencing pain. And we also notice, Bryant, interesting enough, that some people, although may have a little bit of pain or a little bit of loss of function, if they don't treat their condition correctly, they could have a condition that lasts much longer. And just a quick example is neck pain. Someone was rear-ended. They had whiplash. They developed some headaches. They didn't take care of them completely, and later on they become chronic headaches.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. Oftentimes we get calls from clients or potential clients who say, my accident in terms of the property damage really wasn't all that bad. I'm concerned that if I start going to the doctor, I'm going to rack up all these bills, or, my injury isn't so bad that, I feel like I'm going to lose a limb or die. What should I do? And I always tell them it's helpful to just go get checked out. You don't know exactly how bad the injury is until sometime after the fact. Right after the accident, sometimes adrenaline is high. You might, be more concerned about how you're going to put food on the table because your vehicle's off the road than you are about your physical health at that moment. But if you go in, you get a checkup, the doctor says, you're all good. It seems like you got out of this one lucky, great, then no harm, no foul. But if the doctor examines you and says, hey, there's some tightness here, or what happens when you move this way, then you can sometimes get ahead of a more serious condition before it becomes truly long-term and life-altering.
No, absolutely, Brian. I agree with you there. In particular, the first part that you mentioned, that a lot of people who are involved in gig work, they're working class people. They're people who need to work for a living, like 90% of us. And what happens is they kind of put it aside and said, okay, well, let me get the car fixed. It's not that bad right now. I don't have health insurance. I'm not quite sure what to do, and I don't want to have any medical bills. And that's where I see that we're able to help them, and combined with your expertise, your team's expertise in trying to get them uh, a good payout, I guess, good so that they can pay their medical bills.
It's so important to get that treatment early from both a medical perspective and on our end, the legal side. The medical is obvious. You want to get ahead of the injury, try to treat it before it becomes worse. But on the legal side, if there's a big gap in treatment, if you're in an accident on Saturday and you don't go get treatment for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or in some cases we see even longer, it becomes really difficult for the lawyer to connect the accident to the injury. You almost give the insurance company a way out to say, well, it was a month between the date of the collision and the time that he got his first treatment. How do we know something else didn't happen? Or if he was really hurt, he would have gone to get treatment soon after the crash. So by starting that medical treatment, you're really benefiting yourself on the medical side. You're getting healthy, and you're helping your claim.
That can't be said enough, Brian. I hear it a lot from lawyers, from you in particular, the importance of the patient getting treated as soon as possible so that they don't have that gap in care. I mean, as a provider, we're trying on the medical side, we're just trying to help them, right? Gap in care, no gap in care. Well, we still want to help you, but the people need to understand that on a person with a personal injury claim, with an accident like this, that what you said is extremely important. A gap in care can cause the other side to say, well, maybe it's not causally related to the accident, when we know that headache, that whiplash, that back pain that you're suffering from, whether it's just started or it's been made worse. You and I've talked about this a lot. The condition that they may have had was made worse by the accident, and they need to get that checked out. We need to document that so that it could be on their file, and we can treat them correctly, and then you on your side can handle things appropriately.
That's why I tell gig workers all the time, if you're in a crash, whether it's minor or whether it's huge, give LegalRideshare a call, because we can help you make decisions about how to protect yourself. We can put you in touch with a provider like La Clinica if you need help getting that initial appointment. We can help you evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of your situation and help alleviate any issues that may arise with regard to your insurance claim. Doctor, I do think it's important for people to understand the process. Say you've been in an accident, you call LegalRideshare. I say, maybe you should go talk to a provider. Say they end up at La Clinica. What's that going to look like? Take us through their initial treatment plan.
Sure, absolutely. You come in. We always say, come in for a complimentary consultation. Come in and talk to one of our professionals, one of our doctors, talk to our staff. No cost to you. We're going to go over your case, see what happened, see if we can help you. If everything matches up, you're involved in an accident, we discuss what your options are, what your treatment is going to look like with you prior to you starting any care. So you come, you talk to us, you accept care, and then we begin the process. A physical examination, maybe some diagnostic testing such as x-rays to see alignment, to see any potential dislocations or fractures. And then we begin care. If we need to involve other professionals because it's a more complicated issue, then we will. We work with a full team of doctors, surgeons, pain management physicians, physical therapists, and we'll get you to the right place. And we've been doing this for a long time, where we understand how to manage the case.
What I love
and
about
that's basically the beginning. Yeah.
What I love about La Clinica, sorry to interrupt you, doctor, is that you're going to treat each person as an individual. We've had people that have seen you where they needed one appointment. They got their free consultation from you. There was an examination, and it was determined, again, you escape this one and you're lucky. And I think a couple days, maybe a few Advil, and you're going to be okay. And then we've seen it on the other side where somebody's really, really badly injured, and they get that initial appointment, and all of a sudden, that you've helped connect them with an orthopedic surgeon because the injury warrants that kind of heightened care. So regardless of which side of the spectrum you're on, there's an answer for you and an outcome that La Clinica helps provide.
Thanks, Brian. And I think that's really important that we work with a team of different specialists, and we all work together as a team. And many times you'd feel, hey, I may have a broken bone. I was told to see an orthopedic surgeon from the hospital, and I don't know where to turn, or I have a badly sprained ankle, and you need a specialist to see you, to consult with you, or for you to consult with that specialist, and you have that available to you when you come to La Clinica, and at the end of our care, we work with Brian's team. We get Bryant all that he needs in order for him to handle things with the other side.
Doctor, you had made reference before about seeing people without health insurance. And I think that's a really important component to the services that La Clinica provides. You're not turning people away because they don't have coverage. If somebody's injured, you're going to see them. Is that right?
That's right. Unfortunately, a lot of people, especially gig workers, do not have insurance. They're basically working on their own. They don't have a boss. They're working on their own. If they don't have their own private insurance, which the majority of people don't, and Brian, insurance is, as you probably know, it's very expensive, and many people don't, and we don't turn them away. We're there. We help them. We give them different options, and as you and I have discussed, there are many options for care in an accident. So we try to explain to them how the process works, and if necessary, if we feel like they'll probably benefit from legal help, or if we'll point them in your direction as well. Say, hey, you know what, this person could benefit from a consultation with a legal expert so that they can feel comfortable that someone's going to defend them.
Right. It's so important to provide that service to people who are uninsured. In the gig economy, there's no HR department. You don't get a package of benefits with Uber and Lyft. So when the unfortunate inevitable occurs, you get rear-ended or you get sideswiped and you're not feeling great, it's nice to have options. And that's why you then come to LegalRideshare, because you get the medical treatment that you need, and LegalRideshare will help get compensation for the cost of that medical treatment. Will ensure that those bills get paid, the doctors are taken care of, and then also you're, as the injured person, taken care of as well, again, with the pain and suffering, the lost wages, any damages that you sustain. Doctor, can you give an example just of the types of cases that you see, the people that come into your office, just to give our audience an understanding of who can come into La Clinica?
Sure. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So we're talking about gig workers, people who are driving a lot. Those are very common. Obviously, auto accidents are very common. Someone gets injured in a car accident. Perhaps you're the driver, perhaps you're the passenger. And like we discussed, you don't have any health benefits. You come in and we'll have a consultation. We'll go over your case. A lot of times people suffer from neck pain, low back pain. A lot of times, I think we discussed in the past, they'll suffer knee pain or shoulder pain because of the seatbelt may be positioned in a certain way that when it tightens up because of the impact, it may affect their shoulder. Sometimes they hit their heads on the steering wheel, on the windshield, their knee hits the dashboard. So mostly neck and low back injuries because of the nature of of the accident, but a lot of times also other body parts get injured, such as shoulders, knees, the head. So, and then people will come in, and again, we'll give them a free consultation. We'll discuss what can be done. And if you agree, people agree to receive care after we explain to them how things work, then they'll move forward. And I'll tell you, Bryant, after we speak to them, I'd say 90% or higher of the people will go ahead and start our care.
That's great. And I know that in the community, you're so well received. It's not just gig workers. You're seeing people with other types of work injuries, workers' compensation claims, and you provide general services. People need a doctor. I know that you're there to see them. So we really appreciate what La Clinica does and how they serve the gig economy and also the community at large. So, well, doctor, we really appreciate you taking the time today. I know that it's a busy practice that you're running, so it's nice to get a moment with you and to take some time to learn about what La Clinica does. We also like to take the opportunity to tell our audience or remind our audience what LegalRideshare does. If you ever need either of our services, whether it's legal side, LegalRideshare, or medical La Clinica, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We really appreciate our audience taking the time with us. Thank you, everybody. It's been a real pleasure.